Recording in progress.
Okay. Week 1, we learned about unit circle, and we start to memorize all those special angles trigonometry, including sine, cosine, and tangent. And we know sine and cosecant reciprocal, cosine and secant reciprocal, cotangent, tangent reciprocal. Okay. Second week, we learned about the 30 important formulas. I suppose everybody master everything I have taught in the first week and the second week. Today's class, some parts might be hard, but we want to practice, okay? We will learn about graphing. Graphing for sine functions, for cosine functions. Let's first take a look. I want everybody to have a habit of using Desmos graph. If you have never ever tried, please go ahead, try it now. Open Desmos, D-E-S-M-O-S. You can Google it. You can download this app on your iPad, on your phone. And then you can start to draw sine x. You can draw cosine x. Okay, sine x, cosine x. Sine x is starting from the, this is the peak. That's peak, that's trough. This peak is corresponding to the maximum point. This trough is corresponding to the lowest point. And this is the midline, okay? Midline is between the peak and the trough. It's a half between, okay? Halfway between. Now we want to see here. By drawing a graph like that, we wonder who is a function corresponding to this. So we want to introduce something called a times sine bx plus c plus d, okay? You want to write down on your notes. A is called the amplitude. So here, if I do 2 sine x, if I change this guy to be 2 sine x, then my amplitude changed to 2. Previously, if I don't have 2 here, my maximum is 1, my minimum is -1. After I put a 2 in front, my amplitude becomes to 2. So A is called amplitude. Next, this guy. This guy, for the algebra 2, we learned about horizontal shift, horizontal compression, horizontal stretch, vertical compression, vertical stretch, vertical shift, horizontal shift. So that guy is a vertical shift. If I plus 3, if I plus 0, my midline is at x-axis, or you can see my midline is at y equals 0. After I change to 3, my midline becomes to 3. Okay, my midline becomes to 3. So we learned about the A, which is amplitude. D is the vertical shift, which is the midline. Next, what will happen if I change the number in front of x? That is something called a horizontal stretch or horizontal compression. So if I change to 2, I see that my sine wave becomes to shrinked, okay? So it used to be x, and now it is 2x. Yes, Alice, very good. The amplitude is the amount of vertical stretch or vertical compression, okay? That's right, you understand it. Your understanding is correct. And the 2x here. If you don't do 2x, if it's sine x, this function, sine function, cosine function, all the trigonometry functions are periodical function, okay? So sine x, you notice that, look at here. At 0, y equals to 3. At x equals to 2 pi, which is 6.28, y also equals to 3, okay? At x equals to pi over 2, y equals to 5. At x equals to 5 pi over 2, y also equals to 5. Difference between 5 pi over 2 and pi over 2 is 2 pi. So you see, when they have a difference of 2 pi, your y value repeat. That is called a period, okay? That is called 1 period. Sine x has a period of 2 pi. But if you change sine x to be sine 2x, now your period becomes 2 pi. Your old period is 2 pi. Your new period is pi. What happened there? Which guy makes the period change? The number in front of it. 2 is a guy who changed it. So t, if you define the t, capital T is your period. T equals this. If you put a number here as a b, as a coefficient, your t is 2 pi over b. Okay. Don't worry about the c. This guy will be those phase shift, which is the hardest one among A, B, C, D. Okay. A is amplitude. D is a midline. B decide your period. C is a phase shift. We hold on this. We will talk about this later. No, now. Now, look at this. You want to find out your period. Let me call student to work with me together. Aiden. Yeah. Let's take a look at number 1. For the number 1, who is your period? You see here. Let's count, okay? 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bar. 5 of these units equals this. So one of this is 2 pi over 9.
Yeah.
How much is your period from here to here? Correct?
That's 8 pi over 9.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 8 pi over 9. Now, go ahead. T is 2 pi over b. T is 8 pi over 9. B is how much?
9 over 4.
9 over 4. How much is the amplitude?
14.
No.
7.
You don't count between here and here. This is not called your amplitude.
So
From
it's 7.
here to here is your amplitude.
Yeah, that's 7. Okay, sorry.
All right. And you have a vertical shift of 0. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's summarize the way to do this question. Number 1, find your midline. That's 0. Number 2, amplitude is 7.
Yeah.
Number 3, by reading here, you find out your t equals to 8 pi over 9 equals 2 pi over b. You figure out your b. Number 4, write down the equation. Okay. Any question?
No.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Go ahead and repeat what I show you. Step 1.
Step 1, the midline is y equals 0, so there's no vertical shift. Step 2, the amplitude is 7 units, so A would be 7. So it's 7 sine, and then inside the parentheses, t is equal to it's 2 pi over 2 pi over, forgot what letter you used. It was like 2 pi over something,
Over
which,
B, over B. Okay.
which equals to 10 pi over 9. So
Hold on.
wait, yeah,
You
wait, no,
counted
8 pi,
this,
8 pi over 9.
say it. How do we get 8 pi over 9? Say it.
It's like, because that's when the that's when the thing repeats. That's from like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of them is 2 pi over 9, right?
right.
And then times 4, this is 8 pi over 9, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. You can
B equals?
to 9 over 4, so that you plug 9 over 4 in for B in that
All right.
equation.
Okay, thank you. So a question, student asked, how do we get the T? You look at this, this is a wave. Your function will repeat to this value after this. So you go up, you go down, and you go up. From here, you repeat. That's why you count from here to here as your T. Suzanne, do I answer your question? Okay, thank you. Let me call student. Christina. Can you repeat the way we did this question? Give a try.
So first we found the midline. Is
Okay.
0.
Good.
And then we found the amplitude. What do you call it?
Amplitude.
Amplitude, which was 7.
Okay.
And then we found T since 10 pi over 9 divided by
So
5.
this is not your T. T does not equals to 10 pi over 9. You have here, this is your T. T is here.
So we divide by 5 times 4.
Good. Divided by 5. This is 2 pi over 9. Times 4. This is 8 pi over 9. That equals?
T.
2 pi over B, okay? So B is how much?
9 over 4.
9 over 4, okay? 9 over 4. So the result is, go ahead, say it.
7 sine 9 over 4 x plus,
Plus 0, that's it, okay? Is there any question? So far, is there any question? Everybody can do it, like Aiden and Christina. Let me try to ask one more student, okay? The reason I want to spend more time here is because right now question easy, later on question will become hard. If you don't understand now, later on will be not possible. Ling Lu.
Yes.
Go ahead, tell me how do we did number 1?
Okay, so first we look at the midline, which is 0. So we add 0. And then we look at the amplitude, which is 7. So A would equal to 7. And then to find the period, we have to do 10 pi over 9 minus 2 pi over 9 which is 8 pi over 9, which equals to 2 pi over b. So b would equal to 9 over 4. So your equation would be 7 sine parenthesis 9 over 4x.
That's perfect. You can also be a good teacher, okay? This is perfect explanation. Very good. This is beautiful. I like it. Now let's move on to number 2, okay? These two graphs looks a little bit different. This guy starting from this position. This guy starting from the highest point. So what happened? Sine. For the sine at 0, when x equals 0, sine is starting from the midline position. Okay? So, but cosine is starting from the maximum position. So we have to watch out here. We have to be very careful here. If you see a graph starting from those midline position, you probably want to choose sine. But if you see a graph starting from the maximum position, you probably want to choose cosine. Again, we check the midline. This is square root 2, 2 times square root 2, 3 times square root 2, 4 times square root 2. This is the opposite direction. So Alice, how do you know what position it starts on? You see this guy? For this wave, this guy starts from its maximum. For this guy starts from the midpoint position. Alice, did I answer your question? This guy starts from the maximum, so you want to call it cosine. Okay, if you still feel confused, let's hold on. Maybe later you will understand, okay? This guy starting from the maximum position, going down. And you check here. Do you want to use sine? No, this is look too different. I think this is more similar to the cosine. That's why I choose cosine. And this, the old amplitude here is 1. But because this has a vertical stretch, I put this guy outside. And also, this guy has a perfect period of 2 pi. Okay? So Alice, what do you think this function should equal? What should this function equal?
What do you mean?
What's the answer for this? This guy has this answer. What's the answer for this one? Student, there is one student, show me your ID is a dot. I cannot let you take my class. You have to exit and relog in by your real name, okay? Please change your name, otherwise I will kick you out in a few minutes.
Sorry, I was in a friend's Zoom. We were working on a project and I changed my name. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, thank you. What's the function for this one? Is there any volunteer who knows the answer for this? Does anybody know this guy answer? Suzanne, go ahead.
Can I try?
Sure.
Would it be y equals 4 root 2 cosine 2 pi.
No, cosine x.
Oh, it's cosine x.
Yeah, because look, here is 1. Why? Because t equals to 2 pi.
Oh, okay.
And the 2 pi, t equals 2 pi over b. So b equals to 1, okay?
Okay.
And cosine 1x is same as cosine x. So you can just write down cosine x. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Now we are going to move to a harder question, okay? Number 3. Number 3 is the first time we see a function not only has a vertical shift, but also has the amplitude not equals to 1. Again, the period is not equals to 2 pi. So let me call student and look through this question together, okay? Is there any volunteer? Any volunteer for number 3? Nobody? Michelle. Let's do number 3 together, okay?
Yeah.
Look at this. The wave goes this. And we can figure out the midline. This midline is here. So how much is the midline, Michelle?
Is that -5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. And Alice also noticed that this is going to the negative direction. If we choose sine, sine should go up, down, and then up, correct? And what happened? If we want to choose sine, our sine should look like this, but the real graph looks like that. How can we fix this problem?
Make it negative.
You put a negative in front. That's beautiful. So you put a negative in front. And how much is the amplitude?
2.
Okay, very good. So we figure out a -2 is in front and we choose a sign. And then we don't know the number here. We leave as a blank here. How much is the vertical shift?
-5, so
You
-5.
minus 5. Okay. Now let's find out the period, okay? Look at these 2 lines here. That's a period, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the period. So that's a, if that's the period, we can have 2 pi over b equals?
It's the b is 2/3.
Yeah, hold on, let's read how much here?
3 pi.
No, this is 0. This is 0.3, okay?
Oh.
Okay, so that means 2 pi over b equals to 3 pi over 10, right? Pi canceled. 3b equals to 20, correct? So b is 20 over 3. So 20 over 3. That's the final answer. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Now, can you please repeat what I showed you just now? Go ahead.
So the midline is -5. So that means the like vertical shrink, like the vertical like translation is like -5. And the amplitude is 2, but it starts going down, so that makes it negative. So it's y equals -2 sine. And then for b, it's 0.3 is 2 pi divided by 0.3. So that means that it's 20/3. So then it's -2 sine 20/3x, and then -5.
Perfect. Wow, this is good. I like it. You do so well. Thank you. Michelle, you do very well. Okay, very good. Who else want to try? Same question. Who else? Anybody? Tina,
Yes.
let's do it.
Okay. So you'd find the midline first, which would be -5. And in that case, that means the vertical shift is also -5. And then you find the amplitude, and because it goes down, it should be -2. And then you'd find
No, amplitude is always positive. Okay. But
Serious.
this is going the other direction. So when you write down the format, you write down negative in front. Okay. Now, if they
I
ask you
see.
the amplitude is always a positive value. Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the period you would find by doing 2 pi divided by 0.3 pi, which would give you 20/3.
Okay.
And then the final equation would be y equals -2 sine, and then parentheses 20/3 x, and then -5.
Perfect. Good. Very good. Wow. We have so many smart kids here. Okay. That's it. That's the answer. Okay. Okay. Number 4. Any volunteer? Nobody? Ted, let's do number 4. Who is the midline, Ted?
I'm not sure.
This guy. Between the maximum to the minimum. This guy is a midline, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So midline is 0. Okay, next. Next. Who is the amplitude? How much is here? Ted. Alice, how much is the amplitude here?
1/2.
Very good. The vertical shift is 0. The amplitude is 1/2. You want to use sine or you want to use cosine?
Cosine.
Very good. If you use cosine, cosine should go this way, right?
Yes.
So how do you fix the problem here?
Put a negative in front of 1/2.
Very good. So it becomes -1/2 cosine something, right?
Yes.
You don't know the b value, but you can find out here. How much is your period? Let's see here. That is 1 period, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So if you count here, you call this 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5, 6, 7. So 7 of the bar equals this. So this equals to how much?
2 pi over 3.
Very good. So that is 2 pi over 3. If this is 2 pi over 3, how much is here?
8 pi.
8 pi over 3. 8 pi over 3 equals to 2 pi over b. So 8 times b equals to 6. b equals
3 over 4.
3 over 4. So your final answer is
Y equals -1/2 cosine parentheses 3 over 4 x.
okay. That's it. Okay, that's it. Very good. Now, can you repeat what I teach you? Go ahead, please.
The midline is 0, so the vertical shift is 0. The amplitude is 1/2.
Yes.
And then the direction of the graph is negative.
Yes.
And then what does T stand for again?
You want to count how many bars are here?
That first bar is 2 pi over 3.
Okay, yeah, you have 7 of them. So this guy is 2 pi over 3. Then how much is here?
8 pi over 3.
8 pi over 3 is your t. That equals to always 2 pi over b. b equals
3 over 4.
3 over 4. So your final answer is?
-1/2 cosine parentheses 3 over 4x parentheses.
That's good. Very good. Perfect answer. Now next, Brian. Go ahead. Tell me, how do we work on this question? Go ahead.
First, you find the distance between first.
So how much is here?
1/2.
Okay, half. Next.
You find the bottom one too.
Okay.
Or, so
Cosine is going to go this, right?
yes.
So you cannot choose cosine. What do you do?
You choose. I'm sorry, I don't know.
If you use cosine, cosine going like that. If you put a negative, you flip it. Look at here. This is cosine. The graph on this two, the graph between the left and the right window, if you change this guy by putting a negative, this will match. So you put a negative cosine x, yes?
Yes.
So go ahead, next.
So you put a negative, right? And then -1/2 cosine, and then you have to find the x.
You want to find out who is your capital T based on this. Go ahead.
14 pi over 3 is equal.
This is T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here equals how much?
Once or where? It's 1/7.
This is 14 pi over 3. How much is here?
Oh, 2 pi over 3.
Okay. Your t is this position. Who is this?
8 pi
8
over
pi
3.
over 3 is your t. T equals to 2 pi over b. B equals
To 2 pi over, or b equals
you do the cross multiplication.
that equals 6 pi over 8.
Pi canceled, okay? So 8b equals to 6. B equals to 6 over 8, which is 3 over 4, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you want to catch up. For this part, you fall behind, okay?
All right.
Are you clear about the procedure we did here? Step 1, find the midline. Step 2, find the amplitude. Step 3, check it. Does cosine or sine match? If not, can you fix it by putting a negative in front? Next, you want to find out your capital T. This doesn't show you the capital T position, but you can count. And then figure out this position is corresponding to 8 pi over 3. And then you can find your B value, okay? Everybody, you have to pay attention. You don't know what time I'm going to randomly call your name. So you have to pay attention. Otherwise, when I call you, even other people already explained. I already explained for the first time. Other student explained for the second time. When it's for you for the third time, you still cannot figure out by yourself. That's not a good sign. That's dangerous for high school. Number 5. Any volunteer? Any volunteer? Ling Lu.
Okay. Since the graph starts right on the midline, that means this is a sine graph.
Good.
And the amplitude is 2/3. So A would be 2 over 3. Since 4 pi over 3 is a quarter of your period, you multiply that by 4 to get 16 pi over 3, which equals 2 pi over x. So x equals 3.
B, 2 over B.
Oh, sorry. 2 pi over b. So b equals 3 over 8. So your equation is 2 over 3 sine parentheses 3 over 8 x close parentheses.
Wow. This is perfect. Okay, very good. Can you call a student to answer the question? Give a try. Call student. You can check the list. Randomly call student.
Or just like anyone?
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with Suzanne.
Okay. So then let's do it. Go ahead, please.
So A would be the since the middle is like 4, you have to multiply it by 2, so it'd be 8 pi over 3, and 8 pi over 3 equals 2 pi over b, and that means that b is 4 pi over 3 or 4.
Hold on. Your whole period is going up, going down, and then going up.
Oh, okay.
This from here to here, that is your t.
Oh,
This part is t over 2. This part is t over 4. So t over 4 equals to 4 pi over 3. How much is the t?
Oh, okay, so that means t equals 16 pi over 3.
What's the formula for t?
T equals 2 pi over b.
Okay, pi and pi canceled. That means 16 times b equals to 6, cross multiplication. So b equals
3 over 6.
3 over 8. Okay, so the result is, go ahead.
It's y equals sine, oh no, sorry, 2, was it?
2 over 3.
I thought it was 3 over 8.
No, you are talking about b. I'm talking about the amplitude first.
Oh, whoops. 2 over 3 sine 3 over 8 x.
That's it. Now you go ahead and pick a student. Call the name. Go ahead from the list. You can call any student, okay?
Michelle, Sun.
Okay.
The midline is 0 and the amplitude is 2/3. The period length is like 16 pi over 3. So 2 pi divided by 16 pi over 3 gets you b, and b is 3/8. It's positive, so it's y equals 2/3 sine times 3/8 x.
Very good. Perfect. Wow. The girls in this class, way more better than the boys. Okay, that's number 5. Now let's do number 6. Look at this. This one has a vertical shift. This one, the period is easy to find. This is pi, here is 2 pi, okay? Any volunteer for doing this question? Any volunteer want to do number 6? So then go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna try again this time. So we have t equals 2 pi.
Okay, t equals 2 pi. T equals
2 pi over b, b equals 1.
that's right.
And the midline is -0.2.
Yes.
So, and the amplitude is sorry, 0.6.
0.6.
Oh, 0.6. Yeah.
You want to choose sine or you want to choose cosine?
Negative cosine.
Very good. That's very good. If you choose cosine, you do here. If you put a negative, you start from here. That's very good. I like it. So your
Okay.
result is
Y equals negative cosine.
a negative.
Or sorry, y equals negative 0.6 cosine. Is that
X.
right? Oh,
Okay.
What?
You did correct. So the answer is this, right?
yeah.
Okay. Ted. Let's do number 6. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ted. Ted, answer my question. I will get you through, okay? Don't be afraid. Go ahead, do it. Yeah, you choose not to answer, you lose the chance to improve yourself, okay? It is your choice. I don't force you.
I'm just not sure how to do it.
Find the midline first. Okay. Who is the midline?
-2.
Negative 0.2.
Oh, wait. Okay, yeah.
Who is the amplitude?
Negative 0.4.
Huh?
0.4 or 0.6.
0.6. You choose cosine or you choose sine?
Cosine.
No. If you choose sine, you should starting from this position.
Yeah, I said cosine.
You choose cosine, but cosine going down like that. How do you fix it? You put a negative in front, right?
Okay.
So y equals,
Negative
how much is here?
negative 0.6.
Negative 0.6. So you put negative 0.6 and then cosine what? This is 2 pi. So your b is 1. So this is the x. And then do a vertical shift minus 0.2. Do you get it?
Wait, how do you get the 2 pi?
2 pi. This is pi. This is
Oh.
2 pi. And
Oh.
this is 1 period. So
Yeah.
2 pi is your t. This equals 2 pi over b. B equals 1.
Okay.
Okay, you fall behind a lot here. You have to improve, okay? Yeah, when your school start, when they teach this part, it's going to be really complicated. We want to have the skill in summer ready. Number 7. Number 7 is going to be a little bit complicated. Ling Lu, let's do number 7.
Okay, so to find the midline, since the top of the wavelength is 13 and the bottom is 5, that means it's a total of 18, which means that your midline would be at 9, which means and if your midline is at 9, then you do 13 minus 9, which means your amplitude is at 4. So A
Perfect.
plus 4.
Very
And,
good.
and since the wavelength starts at the top, that means it is a cosine graph.
Good.
So, and since there are 8 spots for pi, that means and one of your periods is 2. That means you have 2 pi over b equals to pi over 2.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. This is pi here. Okay, so far everything is good. Let's watch out here.
1
2 period.
pi. Yeah.
2 period. 3 period. 4 period. 4 t equals to pi. T is pi over 4. Okay.
Okay.
This is 2 pi over b. So b equals.
Since it's pi over 4, that means b would equal to 8.
Very good. B equals to 8. Next.
So the equation would be 4 cosine parentheses 8x close parentheses plus 9.
Okay, perfect answer. Which grade you are going to be in this fall?
I'm going to grade 10.
Wow, smart, super smart. Okay, very good. Any other people want to try number 7? Okay, so then let's do it. Go ahead.
Okay, so first is A. There are 8 increments between 0 and pi. So it's like,
Let's find out the midline and the amplitude first.
oh, okay, the midline is,
Oh, okay. Hold on. Michelle, you have a question why the midline is 9. You want to find out the distance between here and here. The maximum is at 13. The minimum is at -5. The midline is halfway between these two. From 13 to -5, you have a distance of 18. This piece is 13. This piece is 5. Your distance is going to be 5 plus 13, which is 18. And then 18 over 2, that is going to be 9. Does that make sense?
So it's not like. Is that
Oh, hold on.
not
Hold on. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. You observe very carefully. Thank you for pointing this. Everybody, let's pay attention here, okay? Yeah, just now we do too fast. The midpoint calculation is doing this. You have your midline. Your midline is going to be your y1 plus y2 divided by 2. That's the midline. Y1 is 13. Y2 is -5. And then divided by 2. 13 minus 5 is 8. 8 over 2 is 4. So the midline position is at y equals to 4. This is the midline position. This is the midline position. From the peak to the midline, or from the midline to the trough, these two should be equal. From 13 to 4, this equals to 9. From 4 to -5, this distance is also 9. Okay, so this amplitude is 9. Linglu, let's pay attention to here, okay? Yeah. This is 9, this is 9. So the amplitude is 9. But the midline is y equals to 4. Very good observation. Thank you. Okay, Michelle, you found it correctly. That's very nice. Now, so that continue. So Michelle, help us to correct this. The amplitude equals to 9. That's 9, that's 9. The midline is y equals to 4. Now you can just tell me how do we calculate the b value. Go ahead, Susan.
okay, so we have 8 increments between 0 and pi. And so one like repeating segment would be like 1
You have one period here.
1/4 pi.
You have, yes, you have 1 period, 2 period, 3, and 4. So your t equals?
T equals 1 pi over 4.
Okay. T also equals?
2 pi over b.
2 pi over b. B equals?
B equals 1/2.
Aye. No,
No.
b is 8.
Oh, b is, whoops.
2 over 8 is 1 over 4. B is 8. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now go ahead. Tell me the final result.
So it's y equals cosine, oh, no, y equals 9 cosine 8x plus 4.
That's it. Okay. Look at this. your range is going to be between -5 and 13, because when this guy go to -1, -1 times 9 is -9 plus 4 go to -5. When this is +1, 9 plus 4 go to +13. That's why we have here. Any other people want to try this question? Tina, let's
Yes.
do this.
Okay. So first you find the midline by using the equation y1 plus y2 over 2.
Okay. Mhm.
And then in which you would get 13 minus 5 over 2, which is 4. So the
Okay.
midline would be at 4. And then you find the amplitude by subtracting 13 and 4 together, which would give
Okay.
you 9.
Yes. So students, when you have your midline and your amplitude, you want to double check. How do you double check? You make sure between this maximum to the midline should equals to from the midline to the minimum. Okay, we have to check here. Continue.
Okay, and then you find the period, which is, okay, there's 8 intervals between 0 and pi. And since one period takes up like 2 intervals, it would be 2 pi over 8, which would be 1 pi over 4. And then equals 2 pi over b. And then you would get b equals 8.
Good.
And then the final equation would be y equals 9 cosine 8x plus 4.
Okay. All right, we are going to work on the next question, okay? Students, ask me question. You ask more question, you get more clear, okay? I just gave everybody a warning. Right now, everybody, all the question here is doing 0 phase shift. If you don't 100% sure understand here, the question here, you will have no way to understand. If you want me to pause, ask me questions, go ahead. If you lose your chance here, you will not be able to catch up later, okay? Look at number 8. Aiden. Look at this.
So, you want me to like, what do you want me to do with it? Okay. The midline appears. Wait.
Let's get the midline. Use the formula I tell you just now.
Okay. Isn't the midline like -2.4, or is that not it? Okay.
No. Just do your own calculation. You want to use this guy plus this guy divided by 2. That is the midline, okay? How much?
4.8.
The top one is -4.8. Divided by 2 is -2.4, right?
Yeah, right.
So this is the midline. Amplitude. How much?
The amplitude is wait, it's 6.4. 6.4.
Really?
Wait,
really?
6.
From here to here, how much?
Oh, hold on, it's 7.
7.2. You have to pay attention, okay? You are able to do it, but you choose to get it wrong. Next.
Okay, so the amplitude is 7.2, and then the next part, the B part, the period. So would it be like 20 pi?
Okay. 20 pi equals?
Oh, right. 20 pi equals to T. Wait.
2 pi over?
Yeah, 2 pi over b. Is that
B equals?
So that means b equals to
How much?
it'd be like 1 over 10.
Yes, thank you. Say your final answer.
So the graph would be 7.2, and then cos or parentheses.
Okay,
Can you hear
continue.
me? Oh, okay,
Yes.
so 7.2 cos. Wait, no, not in parentheses. So 7.2 cos and then parentheses. And then well, just make the 7.2 go in front of 1/10 x. All right, yeah. Whole thing
Okay,
minus 2.2.
yes. Everybody pay attention to the way we calculate the midline. You use the maximum plus the minimum, okay? If it's positive, if these both are positive, you use these two positive number plus together. If one is positive, one is negative, you do 4.8 minus 9.6 and then divided by 2. That is your midline. From the maximum to the midline, choose the positive as your amplitude. If this goes from the maximum, you go positive because cosine, this is cosine. If your point is starting from this position, then you do a negative cosine and you choose that guy as your amplitude. Who has a question? Could you explain how we get 20 pi? Look, over here, that is 10 pi. That is 10 pi. When you draw the cosine, when you up to here, you get your half period. Your whole period is like that. This is your whole period. Or you draw this, go the other direction. This is outer space. I'm not able to draw. So this is a cosine. And then here is t over 2. So this is t over 2. So your t equals to 20 pi. T is 20 pi. 20 pi equals to 2 pi over b. So your b is 2 pi over 20 pi, which is 1 over 10. Okay. Students, if you cannot find out the answer here, when you know this, but you cannot calculate this part, it is not my task. It's your own task for elementary school, okay? Tina, yeah, okay, thank you. So this is the answer, okay? I want to make sure everybody know how to calculate the midline, how to calculate the amplitude, all right? Now we are going to do the hardest part, which is the phase shift. Now, believe or not, if you cannot do this thing here, you will still have this, a lot of troubles for AP physics. Okay, we want to do the phase shift. What part of AP physics use those knowledge? When you learn those,
Frequency and sound.
yeah, when you learn those magnetic field, right?
Yes.
And light and electricity, you all need those periodical functions. So this is a perfect function for sine. That is the 3, and amplitude is 3 pi. T is pi. 2 pi over b equals to pi. So b is 2. Oh, b is 2. So this. Oh, this is easy. Next question. Next question is still easy. You have a vertical shift of 1. Your t is pi over 2. So pi over 2 equals to 2 pi over b. B is 4. Okay. And your amplitude from here to here, your amplitude is 2. So this is 2 times cosine 4x plus 1. Does anybody have any question for this and this? Any question for here or here? second graph.
Wait, can you tell me why how you can figure out if it's cosine or sine again?
This guy, thank you for asking question. Sine x starting from this midpoint position. Sine x starting from the midpoint position. So you choose sine. Cosine x. Cosine x is starting from the maximum point. So if you have a graph starting from the maximum or the minimum, you want to choose cosine. If you have a graph starting from those midline position, you want to choose sine. Did I answer your question, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any question are welcome. Oh, Alice, you want me to repeat the second graph, right? Ling Lu, go ahead. Tell us how do we do the second question?
Okay, so what you look at first is the midline, and the midline and this one is 1. So you would be adding 1 to the end of your equation.
Yes.
And then you look at the amplitude, and the top of the graph is 3 and the midline is 1. So you would subtract those 2 to get 2. And since the wavelength starts at the top, that means it's a cosine graph. And then you look at your period, which is which is pi over 2, and you would do pi over 2 is equal to 2 pi over b. So b would equal to 4. So your equation is 2 cosine parentheses 4x close parentheses plus 1.
Alice, do you understand the second question now? Okay. Now we are going to do the hardest question for today, okay? This part is called the phase shift. Most students have trouble for this, okay? Including the top students, okay? Even the best students also have question here. Ling Lu, let's first figure out those things that we have already know, okay? For this, who are the amplitude?
The amplitude is, since the midline is at 0, the amplitude would be 5.
Good. Can we figure out how to calculate the b value?
Sorry, could you repeat that again?
Can we figure out the b? How do we calculate the b?
Okay, so since it starts at -1 and the next time it connects is 7, so it's a total of 8. So you would do 2 pi over b is equal to 8, which would give you pi over 4.
Okay, b equals pi over 4. Very good. So we figure out the amplitude, and we roughly see this guy looks like a cosine, right? Looks like cosine. And we do cosine. B is pi over 4, and then we times x, and then plus a 0 shift. This part, let's hold on here. Without this, can everybody figure out this? Is there any question to get the 5 here, get the pi over 4 here, get the 0 here? Is there any questions? If no question, I'm going to go to the hardest question, okay? All right, now let's start. How do we get this? This is critical important. This guy, If I draw the cosine, if I want to choose the cosine pi over 4 times x without this, your graph should look like this purple one. If I draw this by a purple line like that, my graph is this. So I'm going to choose a purple color. This represents my purple line here. But my real graph is not the purple line. My real graph is this blue line. What will happen? Compare to this purple one. Your blue one shift to the right by a unit of 1. You have a horizontal shift to the right. In algebra 1, algebra 2, we all learned about horizontal shift. If you shift to the right by 1, that means you do a x minus 1. If you shift to the right by 1, that means you do x minus 1. That's why the graph is this. Is there any questions? Is there any questions?
Like for like this type, when there is like a horizontal shift of some sort, does it like matter to you if we use cosine or sine?
Very good question. You can choose cosine, you can choose sine. If you choose cosine, let's see here. If I say I want to choose cosine, you draw the cosine origin graph. The cosine origin graph is this purple line. And then you see your real graph is this blue line. From the purple line to the green, to the blue line, from the purple line to the blue line, you have a horizontal shift to the right by 1. So you have x minus 1. But if you say, I want to choose the sine, I really like sine, it's okay, we can do sine. The way we do sine, the amplitude is the same, it's still 5. The b value is still the same. We do 5 sine pi over 4x. So if I draw this, I choose a green color. If I'm going to use 5 times sine pi over 4x, that is this graph. Okay, that is this graph. Compared to this graph, to the real blue line, this green one, if I say my real graph is this blue line, this green one shift to the left by 1. It shifts to the left by 1. The real one is shift the green one to the left by 1. We learned in algebra 1, algebra 2, if you do the shift to the left by 1, you are going to have a parenthesis, x plus 1. Does this make sense? If you choose cosine, you choose here. And your real graph is shift from the purple one to the right by 1. So you have a minus 1. If you choose to use sine, the sine is here. And you have this green line shift to the left by -1. So you have a plus 1. Student have a question. Alice, every question are welcome here, okay? The way I teach are different with other teachers. I care if students truly understand. So don't feel sorry for asking question. Any question, anytime are very welcome. You ask me, is the purple line part of the problem itself? No, the purple line is my additional drawing. My real graph, the problem itself is only the blue line. Okay, the question itself is only the blue line. Purple one is for me to tell the shift direction. If you feel this part very complicated for you and very confused, we have the videos. You look at the videos again and again until one point you suddenly get it, okay? And you watch the video again and again, suddenly you say, ah, I got it. Your shift direction. This is your original cosine. If my question, if I'm a nice person and I don't give students anything with phase shift because that's a hard topic for many students. I only draw a graph like that, okay? No phase shift. Then my answer for this question, for the purple one, will be this purple answer. But for students who take pre-AP or honor class, they don't always give you those simple questions. They change this, they do a phase shift. Your phase shift becomes to this. Compared to the one without shift, your new one is this. Compared to the old one to the new one, your peak was shift to the right by 1. That's why you do a -1. If you don't want to choose cosine, instead you want to choose sine, you draw this. Yeah, for regular class, they just give you a question like that, okay? But we are for pre-AP and honors class student. So we, rather than graph so simple like this, which we can answer this, they have a shift. We want to use sine. This guy compared to this one, the direction always check from the old to the new, okay? This is the original one. This is the real one. You shift to the left, so you do a +1. If you think this by now, you understand this, text me a message, say, I got it. If you, by now, you still feel not sure, you say no. Yeah, we have 4 students got it. All right, yeah. If you think this method make you really confused, I have another way to help you 100% get the correct answer, okay? You want to listen? Okay. And you might wonder, why you don't teach us the easy way first? Because the easy way takes longer time, okay? Yeah, so sometimes smart kids want to do the quick way, so that's why I show the quick way first. And now I'm going to show the slow way, but the slow way guarantee you get correct. Look at here. I don't know if it's plus or minus. I really struggle here. I'm as confused as you. I really don't know if I choose +1 or -1. What I do, I will plug in a value. Look at here. If I choose +1 here, look at here. Your x is -1. X is -1, y equals 0. My graph is exactly over here. This point is -1, 0. Plug in. -1 plus 1 is 0. 0 times pi over 4 is 0. Sine 0 is 0. Is that good? Yes, this is good. You say, no, I don't believe so. I want to try x minus 1. Well, you can try. Let's see here. You say, I don't want to choose x plus 1. For sine, I want to choose x minus 1. So let's see. X equals -1. Pi over 4 times -1 minus 1 is -2. Pi over 4 times -2 equals -pi over 2. Sine -pi over 2 is -1. That is -5. Oh my gosh. If you choose -1 here, not +1 here, your -1 point shouldn't be at the 0 position. It should be on here. That means this is totally wrong. You cannot choose this. This doesn't satisfy. That's a wrong choice. Then you have to switch to plus. And then you verify with this -1 here. It's working. You put it. Now let me ask again. Does this method make sense for the students? Previously, the first way, we only have Ling Lu, Suzanne, Brian, and Michelle got it. For the new way, text me if you got it or not. Text me if you got it. Okay. From pre-calculus, pre-AP, and then calculus AB and calculus BC. Math is not going to be easy anymore, okay? But if we work on those details and have some strategy to handle it, we can do well in this hard level class, okay? And Tina,
Yes.
can you tell me the way I show you just now? Go ahead. Why I cannot choose this? Why I cannot choose this -1 here?
That part, I didn't really get that part.
So that means if I choose, the result here is I say I want to choose +1, but I'm not quite sure if I want to put a +1 or -1 as my final answer. I can give a try for -1, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And then -1. This equals
5 sine pi over 4, -2.
how much? This is 5 times sine pi over -pi over 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
-pi over 2 sine value is how much? Sine -pi over 2 equals -1, yes?
Yes.
So this equals -5. This is -1, 0. The y value is not -5, so you cannot choose minus here. You should choose plus here. Does this make sense now?
I think so, yeah.
As students, if you don't understand this part, it is really not a problem. Okay, it's not my problem that I'm not able to make you understand. It's because this part is really confusing. The only way you can figure out this is by looking at my video again and again. Make the speed to be like very slow speed and pay attention to every single thing I explained in the video. Okay, hard work will pay off here. Next one, we have the next question. Ling Lu, let's see here.
Yes. Okay. So first we need to find the midline, which is -1. And then we find the amplitude. And since the top of the wave is 3, that means the amplitude is 4. And I think for this one, I'll go with cosine. Since it is shifted to the right, that means it is subtracting 1.
Good.
So, and then we look at the period, and since it looks like each line is 1, so that means the period is 10.
Okay.
And so then we do 2 pi over b equals to 10, which gives us pi over 5. So the equation is 4 cosine parentheses pi over 5 parentheses x minus 1 close parentheses minus 1.
Okay, yeah. If we want to double check, we can plug in a x equals 1. Let's go ahead. When x equals 1, let's see how much. X equals 1, y equals cosine pi over 5 times 1 minus 1 is 0. Cosine 0 is how much? Ling Lu?
Oh, cosine 0 is 1.
Very good. Cosine 0 is 1. Cosine pi over 2 is 0. Sine 0 is 0. Sine pi over 2 is 1. Okay? This is 4 minus 1, which is 3. That's why we have here. Yes? Okay, very good. Now, I'm going to upload. I think I have already uploaded the homework, the blank version. You want to drill through all those questions. The second part, for graphing here, we will leave this for the next week to learn, okay? This week, as long as you can handle this question and this question, is good enough. You can print out the first 2 pages to work on it. Let me upload the solution. Okay, the blank version with a solution. And there are another part for the homework, which is this question, okay? I show you the question and you can try to graph this by your hand. If it's too much, you can use decimals to help you draw it, okay? And the answer key is attached. If you still have questions, we will work on this together next class. This is those really real world application questions for using sine graphing and cosine graphing. But you are welcome to use your graph calculator. Doesn't matter which graph calculator you want to choose. You can use TI Inspire. You can use decimals, okay? Doesn't matter. You can choose one of the graph calculator you want to use and go ahead and finish drawing the graph and being able to find out F3, you know, F8, and I can show you a lot of tricks for using the graph calculator. One thing you want to pay attention when you use graph calculator like TI Inspire is you want to set up in the reading mode. You want to make sure you put the setup in the reading mode, not in the degree mode. If you put it in the degree mode, the graph will look very weird, okay? Yeah, I upload all the homework. Every week we have homework, okay? Yeah, I believe all of you can access this folder. So please don't ask your parents, say, I didn't receive the homework. All the homework, as long as you refresh your link, you have the homework for each week, okay? I will upload the videos. You make sure, check the videos, go through every single question, redo all the question by yourself. You should be able to master this, okay? That's for today's class. See you next week.